Chapter 29. Her funeral is to be on Friday. We need a few days to try to find Big Inez, her mom. Surprisingly, Carl is the one who ends up locating her out in California. Not sure how he knew where to find her. Not sure I want to know. We meet the hearse outside of St. Francis Xavier's main door. The men carry Nezzy's coffee into the church. It's so little. And we stay with her all morning and all afternoon. Auntie Ober says that's tradition. Up here, a family stays with the deceased relative, never leaving them alone. Sometimes they stay with the body all night if the funeral is the next day. Even in death, Indian people keep watch over those they love, never wanting them to be alone. She died from a severe head injury to the back of her skull. But looking down at her, it just looks like her eyes are closed. Nezzy's mom decides to have an open casket. To me, it seems that she doesn't have the right to make any choices in the funeral. But no one asked me. I can't go up to see my little girl at first during the viewing, but Judy takes my hand and we walk up and kneel before Nezzy. Sometimes you just need someone to help you find your courage. She looks so peaceful, just like she was asleep. Angel that she is. I have to touch her one last time to make sure that she really existed. There are a lot of people touching her, gently, so I know it's okay to do. I brush a curl away from her face and tuck it behind her ear. And as I did that, I glanced down to her feet. She has on her beautiful, colorful, beaded moccasins with the floral design. It's the same Ojibwe floral design that's everywhere up here in the Turtle Mountains. It makes sense to me to bury a loved one in their moccasins. I guess it symbolizes their journey to the next life. But what do I wear back here to walk my path in life without my best friend? There is a steady drizzle with fog surrounding the little church. How fitting. The earth seems in haze without her too. Cars fill the church's parking lot with overflow room on the road in front of the building. The whole town turns out. But it doesn't matter how many people come. There's only one person missing here. I miss my friend, my cousin. Dad, Judy, and Bear sit next to me in the second row during the funeral mass. Big Inez sits in the first pew. I can't figure out how she could have left Nezzy, the child whose heart was so big. Later, Auntie reminds me that some people can't see the gold before their eyes because they have addictions that we just don't understand. The priest gives a good funeral mass, as one could give for a child who died too young. Gathering our things after Father gives us the final blessing, we are getting ready to leave. And then I hear it. The silence and the sobbing are interrupted as the first chord breaks through. It takes a few seconds for all of us to understand what's happening. Gentle child, quiet sight, morning light, so pure and bright. Gentle child, lovely one, you gave us laughter, gave us love. Walking up the aisle with guitar in hand, serenading little Nezzy, is Jeff. He looks only at her and sings a version of the gospel hymn in a solid wave of sadness. It's an incredible voice, and now I know why my little girl tried to coax it out of him. This voice, this gift of his, is too important to keep to himself, and that little girl knew it. He changed a church song to make it fit Nezzy perfectly. His gaze is intent, and he continues up the aisle until almost arriving at the casket. But he stops next to me and nods, our eyes all holding each other's gaze for what seems like eons. I know what he means. I can read his eyes and understand. He means, I thought I never had time to sing to her before, but now I'll drop my entire life to serenade her and guide her on her path to the next life. Jeff sings a song for every year of Nezzy for every year that Nezzy was alive, and then goes and sits next to Mushum. There isn't a dry eye in the place. Once again, little Nezzy brings down the house. After the funeral, we walk up the hill to the cemetery. It's to an open grave we head. But this time, instead of me going in, it's someone else. But you might as well bury my heart in there too. Funny though, I'm not afraid of going to a cemetery now. No, I realize that our loved ones, below ground, are mingling with the earth, and as we lightly walk over their grave, our steps echo their heartbeat, which remains with us, connecting us always. The priest says a few Bible passages, and then we're left there. Little Nezzy's coffin is so tiny, just pine planks, that it holds a princess. We watch as they lower her into the grave, but one by one, the relatives walk past and grab some dirt that's piled off to the side and throw it in. A few bring little pink Turtle Mountain wild roses, and others bring wild sage to throw in. But even these sweet scents cannot cover the odor of grief. Walking past your graves, some say goodbye. Some say God bless you. Some say Kikawabamin, which Grandma translates as I will see you again in the Ojibwe language. I don't understand, but she explains that in Ojibwe there is no word equal for goodbye. And that's important to me, because I will see her again, just not in this life. It's my turn, so I grab a handful of dirt and sprinkle it over her. I'll see you again, my girl. And I start to walk back down the hill, along with the rest of the people. But I notice that Grandpa, Jeff, and Junior stay back. I look to Grandma to see what to do, and she's nodding to the grave. I know I'm supposed to stay. It's amazing how much you can learn by just watching. Even through silence, communication continues. Is there something more we need to say? I whisper to Junior as we're left alone. His lips point at the pile of dirt piled behind the open grave. What? No, his eyes point to shovels leaning against the dirt mound. What do you mean? The men grab shovels and begin the unthinkable. They start to move the dirt from the pile back down over little Nezzy. What are you doing? You mean we bury her? Looking around, I add, but doesn't the cemetery crew do that? Grandpa shakes his head. Junior holds out a shovel for me. Jeff continues to shovel. My girl, Lucian speaks softly. When you were a girl, who tucked you into bed at night? Okay, he's way off topic. Who tucked me into bed? Well, I guess that would have been my dad. Or Judy after they married. Sometimes a babysitter. What does that have to do with me shoveling dirt over Nezzy? My voice breaks as I say her name. So, relatives, family members put you to bed at night? Grandpa asks just above a whisper. I nod. With one eye on Junior, he slowly moves the dirt bit by bit into the tomb. Who better, Apple, than family to tuck our child into her eternal slumber? My body somehow moves the shovel to help. It's like a dream. This can't be real. A few feet away from where Nezzy lies is my mother's grave. Watch over her, Mom, in the next life, in heaven, will ya? I grab the remaining shovel and begin to tuck Nezzy in with the soil of the Turtle Mountains. My tears covering Nezzy and my sorrow blanketing her too.